Erev Torah time. Yesterday we got cut a little bit short. I forgot about something, so now I remember. Now I remember. So I'll tell you what I was going to say yesterday. There is a scenario like this in Shulchan Aruch where several families are getting together, to eat Shabbat Seudah together. Several families. This happens sometimes, in the hotel, right? You go to a hotel, several families over there in one dining room. They're all eating together, Jewish families. Especially in Israel, this happens a lot. Also, it doesn't matter, it also could be in the house, or it could be in a restaurant. Sometimes the restaurant is open on Shabbat, for Seudat Shabbat. So all these things, right, in all these situations, the question is, who lights the Shabbat candles, in this room? Because you have several families. So who lights? Everybody lights. No, one person lights. How does it work, right? So the truth is, that but Yosef brought over there machloket about this. There is one opinion that says every family should light separately, with their own menorah. Each family with their own menorah. Shabbat menorah. That's one way to do it. But there's also another opinion that says you shouldn't do this. Why? Because when the first one already lit the candles, there's already light, in the room. So you don't really, the mitzvah is already done. That's why you don't really need to do more. So if you want to do more, you can light, but without bracha, because there's already light there in the room. You cannot make a bracha. So Shulchan Aruch says like that, paskins like that if there are several families, the first one will light, the one who came first, with the bracha, right? Le'adikna shel Shabbat. And then the rest of them are going to light without bracha because, there's already light there. So you cannot make a bracha again. The mitzvah was already done. This is the thing, This is the way we do it.
Or for all of them?
I'm sorry?
It's for one family or for all of them?
It's a big room and several families there, right? Right, Boruchov, right, Chaimov, right? You have everybody right over there, right?
Everybody.
Right. You have Mulankandov, right? You have a lot of families there, and so the first one is going to light, with a bracha. The later ones can light without a bracha.
So can they do another room?
Yeah, no problem. But they're not. They have one room. Yeah, if you're in a separate room, you're right. 100%. Yes, 100%. No question about it.
Usually they do it like that in hotel when you're doing Shabbat in hotel. So you're not allowed to light in the candles in the rooms. They're not allowed to.
Right. So they do it in the lobby or they do it in the dining room, The lobby's not so good because nobody's eating there, So what are you don't use it.
If they know what to do.
Some people do in the lobby, This is no good. So, okay, whatever, it's all good. Anyway, right, as we said, this is the way you do it, First one comes in, makes a bracha. Next one, no. Right? There's already light there. But the Rama says, no, you can also make a bracha for the second one. The Rama. So the Ashkenazim, they do like this, With the Ashkenazim, each one comes in later, can make a bracha. Also. Because that's the minhag of the Ashkenazim. But Maran, right, Shulchan Aruch doesn't pass like that. So we can do only one time bracha. That's it, right? No more. Okay. That's what I wanted to tell you yesterday.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please.
How can you know if somebody did the bracha? Let's say I'm coming now.
Because you see candles already lit.
But you don't
right?
know.
If it was already lit, somebody made a bracha.
So you don't, even if you didn't hear, it's okay? You didn't see it?
Yeah, because you can't bless. The mitzvah was already done there. You know what I mean? The mitzvah was already done. Somebody did the mitzvah already. Okay, so that's the story, right? That's how it works over there with several families like this. Another interesting thing, which is brought down there, is sometimes, what happens, right? This happens in Israel a lot. They light the candles in the house, Shabbat, but they don't want to eat in the house. You know why? Because it's hot, summer. They want to go into the yard, and eat over there, nice breeze, nice air, right? A lot of mosquitoes, they're going to bite you, right? All kinds of good things over there, right? So anyway, right? They want to eat over there, downstairs in the yard. Or let's say on the porch, right? On the balcony, whatever it is. The problem is like this, right? That over there, they cannot light candles, Why? Because the wind will blow it out, right? You cannot light candles outside. The wind will blow it out in 2 minutes. 2 seconds. It'll be out. So then, right, the thing is, you light the Shabbat candles in the house, and over there in the yard, you don't have candles there, you cannot. So, you have to be careful, if you're doing this way, says the Shulchan Aruch like this, be careful, right, that you're going to use that light in the house, when you go back after the Seudah, you're going to use it. Otherwise, if you don't use it at all, you made bracha lebatala, you made a bracha for nothing. You know what I mean? So what does that mean? If you lit candles, right, and they already went out by the time you went upstairs, they already went out, right? You didn't use the candles at all, So this is no good. You got to be careful, not to do it this way. So if you're going to do like this, right, seudah in the backyard or whatever, right, make sure that you use those candles that you lit in the house. Otherwise, what was it for? How did you make a bracha? So how do you do it, right? You can even do like this, Let's say people are just going in and out, to go get some food. So they're using the candles, sometimes because it's dark, whatever. So if they're using like that, that's also good. They're using for something. So that's also good. As long as you use it for something, for some kind of a usage, so then it's okay, right? So that's the way you do it, So you got to make sure that you use those candles for something, for anything, any kind of usage, any purpose, whatever it is. Otherwise, don't make a bracha, If you're not going to use it at all, don't make a bracha because it's going to be a blessing in vain. Bracha lebatala. Okay. So that's regarding, right, Shabbat. Now, right, we're coming into Rosh Hashana, so we got to start talking about Rosh Hashana, right? So here's something I want to tell you, which is very important and interesting also, which is that, they say the Chazal, right? Rosh Hashana is a Yom Adin, Day of Judgment. So what does that mean? Everybody is judged, everybody. Jewish, not Jewish, right? Everybody is judged on Rosh Hashana. Every human being is judged on Rosh Hashana. The whole world is judged on Rosh Hashana. You know what I mean? The Goyim, they don't care, they say, yeah, we want to do some fireworks, right, on the, January, December 31, Hashem doesn't care about their stupid fireworks. He tells them, listen, you can do all the fireworks you want, but you're being judged on Rosh Hashana, buddy, my friend, right? Chilavek, that's what's going on with you. You're not being judged on December 31st when the big ball drops down in Times Square. Who cares about that? This is not the real New Year. This is fake New Year. Fake, lie, sheker. New Year sheker. That's what it is. It's not New Year. Anyway, so why do I tell you this? Because since everybody's judged, so this is a very heavy thing. It's very heavy judgment. HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges everything that you did. Everything. Every little thing. It's a lot of judgment there going on. So it says, the Rambam, he brings this from Masechet Yomah. It's true, that if a person is judged to be tzaddik, right, he's gonna live next year. He's gonna live out the year. If he was judged to be rasha, he's gonna die that year. He's gonna die. Lo aleinu. Can you imagine something? That's what the Rambam says. If they judge him to be rasha, how do they know he's rasha tzaddik? If he has more mitzvot, he's tzaddik. If he has more averot, sins, he's rasha. You understand? That's the way it is. It depends on what's more, right? What's the majority? The majority you have mitzvot, or majority you have averot. Right? What do you have? What's your rap sheet, right? What's your scorecard? What's written? What did you do this last year? It depends all on that. But it's not only how many mitzvot you did. I did the 200 mitzvot. It's not only that. It's also the quality of the mitzvot. Some mitzvot are bigger than others. And also some sins also are bigger than others, So Hashem knows how to weigh everything, the proper way, Some mitzvot are very big. Some, averot are also very big, So those are more heavy. They're more weighty. So Hashem knows how to judge all these things. What about if he comes out to be 50-50, right? Benoni, right? What happens there?
No.
Not tzaddik, not rasha. What happens over there? Benoni, right. What happens? So what they do, right? They delay the judgment until Yom Kippur. They give you more time, to see what's going to be, Which side is it going to go? Is it going to go this side or that side, right? The good side or the bad side? If you didn't do by Yom Kippur, they give you also until Sukkot. And then, right, also until Hoshana Rabbah. That's the last day, right? And then Hoshana Rabbah, if you were like Benoni, 50-50, they're gonna, in the end, they're gonna judge you, tzaddik or rasha, right? One or the other, they're gonna see what you are. They're gonna give you some time to. That's why they say, the Chazal, that on the Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, right, 10 days of penitence, a person should be a little bit more machmir, in certain things. To be machriya takav, to make himself a tzaddik, even though he's like in the middle, 50-50. Do some strong things, to make it, tilt it over. Like that, right? That's the thing. That's how they judge you, in Shamayim. There's a lot of things about the judgment, whatever. But here's the thing, right? They also judge you about parnasah. We all worried about parnasah, You know how it is. We open the bima, right? We're all praying for parnasah, going crazy, right? Everybody's going crazy, Rabbi's saying, no, how much you pay? $1,000, $2,000 to open the techal, right? Why? Because everybody wants parnasah. Oh, everybody's crazy for parnasah, right? So, thing is like this, They judge you on Rosh Hashana, how much you're going to make this year. You know what I mean? So let's say, right, for argument's sake, you're going to make 150 this year, right? 150,000. Not too bad. You can live good. 150. It's good. Not too bad. Right? You're not a millionaire, but you're okay, You'll be all right. Okay, so they judge you for parnasah. They're going to say, okay, this guy, this year is going to make 150. This year. But the thing is, they also judge you how much you're going to lose. How much money you're going to lose also. You understand? That's also. So, yeah, you're going to make 150, but they're going to say, but he's going to lose 30. So, right, the net, the gross will be 120 in the end, right? Right. So, how does that work? Right, the net, exactly, the net. So, right, so how does that work? Sometimes, people lose money because, how it is, right? The IRS, goes after them. You know what I mean? Or, they get moving violations, $500 for speeding, passing a red light. You know what I mean? All kinds of things like this, right? But go to the lawyer, he'll help you if you have a problem. He'll help you with those things. So, anyway, right? All these kinds of things, so they take money from you here, there, parking violations, this violation. They give you, right, fines, they fine you for this, they fine you for that. You're going to lose 30,000. You're going to make 150, but 30,000 you're going to lose. So that's how they do it, They say how much you're going to make, how much you're going to lose. So how do you avoid this, right? If you're a smart guy, what do you do, right, to avoid the loss? How do you get out of it? Except the lawyer, right? Besides the lawyer, how do you get out? Because the lawyer, you got to pay him something. He's not going to do it for free. You got to pay him something. It's not going to be for free. How do you get out? So the thing is like this, right? How do you get out? The way you do it is that you spend money on tzedakah, right? Or you spend money on chesed, things like this, So whatever you spent on tzedakah and chesed, they're going to say, oh, you see, he lost money for tzedakah, So that's it. He's yatzai yedei chova. He fulfills obligation. You understand? So the more you give for tzedakah, the less you lose for taxes, IRS and moving violations and God knows what. All kinds of things. That's the trick, So that's why you got to be generous, a little bit. Open up your wallet, and give generously. Because the more you give, the less you're going to lose. Because they're going to say, yeah, he lost 30,000, he gave 30,000 to the yeshiva, and he gave 5,000 to the shul, and that's it. You understand? That's the whole thing. So be generous, There's a story like this brought down in the Talmud. You know what it says there? It says, right, that there was a certain rabbi, and he heard in Shamayim, somebody told him, this year you're going to lose, $50,000, this year, that's your mazal this year. This is your din. So what did he do? He went and gave tzedakah, same amount of money, 50,000 he gave, and then he didn't lose nothing. You understand? Oh, that's the way you do it, right? You lose, So that's why they say the Chazal. Either you give, your money to Yaakov, right? What's Yaakov? Yeshiva, right? Torah, Talmud Torah, right? Kolel. You give money to Bet Knesset. You give money to Yaakov. If you don't, you're going to give to, right? Esav. Esav is going to come take your money. It's either Yaakov or Esav. Which one do you like better, right? Which one? Which one do you prefer? Because somebody's going to take it, It's going to be either him, the Rosh Yeshiva, the Rosh Kolel, right? The rabbi, or it's going to be Esav, right? The governor, whatever it is, right? The tax collector, IRS, whatever. It's all Esav. That's the whole thing, right? That's why a person has to be careful, with these things. But here's the thing, right? I'll stop here. We'll stop 2 minutes. There's also another thing, that a person can do to increase his parnasah. Let's say, as we said, right? They gave him this year 150. Not too bad. It's pretty good. But a smart guy, right, says, you know what, I'm not satisfied with that. I want more. I want more. Give me more money. It's not good, no good for 150. I want 300. Give me. So you can make this gezerah in Shemaim, You can force them to give you more. You force them. How do you do that? There's a way, There's a way to force them. How? You know what you do, right? The Chazal say like this: when you spend money on Shabbat, right, expenses for Shabbat, Seudot, Yom Tov, right, Rosh Chodesh, right, all these holidays, you spend money for these holidays, Regalim, Pesach, Sukkot, right? Now Sukkot is coming up, right? When you spend money on all these things, also, another thing, which is Talmud Torah for your children, right? You send your sons to Talmud Torah, also this money. Talmud Torah. Talmud Torah can get kulam. All the money that you spend on these things, you know what they say, right? They say, oh, he spent, you see, extra. So we're going to give him also extra. So whatever extra you spend, on these things, they give you back. Refund. You get a refund, Like the IRS gives you a refund, right? Leavdil. Sometimes they give you a refund if you're lucky, right? Also, Hashem has a refund also. If you spend money on these things, Shabbat, Yom Tov, Regalim, Rosh Chodesh, Talmud Torah, can you get kulam? Yeshiva, exactly. All these things, they give you all that money extra, refund. They say, okay, we gave him 150, but now he's going to get 250 because he spent 100,000 on these things. Wow. Right, that's the whole thing.
It's so beautiful what he's saying, but nobody knows who is gonna, how much you're gonna get. It's all
right
in your opinion or somewhere over there upstairs. You don't know how much you're gonna make. You don't know what you're gonna have. What you're
right.
gonna lose or what you're gonna find.
Right, but all we know is one thing. If you do these things, this is going to save you. That's all we know. That's all you need to know. The rest is up to Shammai. Understand? That's the whole thing.
It's all
Yeah.
illusion.
It's not illusion. This is reality. Believe me, it's very, very much reality. So if you don't believe it, one day you will. If you don't believe it today, you're going to be. Next year, you're going to believe
You
it.
don't get email or message saying your salary for this.
Doesn't matter. They believe me. They're gonna. It works anyway. You have to have, that's why the rabbis say, you have to have emunat chachamim. When the chachamim tell you something, you have to have emunah to believe what they say. If you don't believe, kofer. Kofer is kofer. Doesn't believe the chachamim. Doesn't believe the Talmud. Doesn't believe. So here's the thing, right? But Maran, Rabbi, he also told us one more thing, that we didn't see in the books. Rabbi, he told us like this, if a person is very generous with his family, he gives his wife, nice things, generous with his wife, generous with his children, make sure that they have everything that they need. Makes them happy, his wife and children. So you know what they do, right? They add him also for this. You know what I mean? Whatever he does extra, for his family, they say, oh, this guy, you see, he loves his family, he cares about his family. Let's give him more. Yalla. Take it out, right? Dish it out. They give you also for this, You know why this is? Because they say like this, if this guy is so machmir, to makpid, to do all these mitzvot, as we said, right, all the mitzvot that we mentioned, and also he's machmir, he's makpid to take care of his family, So they say, if he's so careful about that, we also have to give him more, he deserves, It's like, midar can get midar, The more he gives to them, we have to give him also, He's a good man, a generous man, That's the thing, So why do I tell you this? Don't be cheap with your family, every penny, counting pennies, 5 cents, 10 cents. Your family deserves good life. Give them, be generous with them. If you're going to be generous with them, they're going to be generous with you. That's the whole thing. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen, amen. ודין שומר, זה קדוש ברוך הוא לעשות ישראל. לפיכך חיבר להם תורה ומצוות של המזון חפש, למען צדקו יגדיר תורה וידיר.